Okay, this is going to be an updated video to the one I just had to take down that had 8 views over the 30 minutes that it was posted because I found a massive error in it. I was banging my head for hours trying to figure this out. Nothing on the internet is about this. I discovered this entirely on my own. I take full credit for fixing this. So here's the deal. You want to basically do what this guy says. How to label the points defined in Path2D through code. Everybody else will do it, your Path2D through the IDE. This guy wants to do it through code. And this person down here, Jamster, and all this is from 2020, so I'm guessing Godot 3 lays out this code. And then the same code, but with his comments. Awesome freaking poster. I based my entire other video on this, and it worked great. And then I found out there's a huge error in it, and I fixed it. So the main issue that we have is in my other video, I had his code and corrected so it would work in Godot 4, which mainly means get rid of all of his physics stuff, changing point label visible to true instead of false so it actually shows. And otherwise it all worked right off the bat. However, it won't work here. And I'll hit F6, and of course it's gonna work. Oh, well, that's why it's working. There we go. F6. Bam. Cannot call method add point on a null value. Now, unfortunately, this does not work as a script outside of Path2D. The main problem that I found is, where's curve? Oh yeah, curve. Curve is going to be under self because this is Path2D. So self, you notice right here, we have no curve. No curve is defined. So what we have to end up doing is I had to figure out, first I had to track this down through the debuggers. And then it's like, okay, so Godot docs is useless about this. Go ahead, look at them. I dare you. Path2D. Path2D, curve 2D, follow, path follow 2D. Ignore signal, that's something else. None of this crap explains any of this. What you have to do is assign a new curve 2D to Path2D so it will have a curve. Freaking Godot, man. So down here, all right. So now we have, I put this up here on ready var new curve equals curve2d.new, our missing link of this. The rest of this, this line here is if you're going to use it outside of Path2D. However, this does not work outside of Path2D, not reliably. And this was a last-ditch effort to get it to work consistently, and it has to be in Path2D. But what I plan on using it for is for vehicles moving around a map. So it's going to be instanced inside all of these vehicles anyway, so it works for me. I'm going to bump the speed up to 75. So from that guy's original code, I had to first move it into Path2D, so it extends Path2D. Add speed equals 75. This collide false is for when I go into collisions after my rant here. I had to add curve equals new curve. Curve is Path2D dot curve. Path2D curve. This is all you get. Literally, that's it. So what this does is we go ahead and we put a F9 here, not an F5, wrong, F6. And now we look at self, which is Path2D. We have a curve 2D. So then we continue with F12. Everything works. So what's going on here is in this guy's code, these points correlate to all of these points right here. So he's verifying the curve points in his code. What everybody else does, so they make a new curve, then they go up here and they select points. So control right click gets you a curve, and they say that's our curve. And now we're going to go into our follow node, and we're going to do the script to make this follow this. And the follow node, of course, they'll show you this. Oh, look, it's following it. It's, oh, look, neat, neat, neat. But I want to know, well, how do I create all these points in code? And that's what my last video and this video, which corrects the last video, is all about. So what our script does here, we're adding the curve 2D again back into curve where it is missing. And that way curve does not show up as a null object when we try to shove one of these points into it. So for point in points, it's taking every one of these vector points and adding it into curve's array of points. And then curve is going to get the amount of points in there, and then get the points position. So F6. And we'll do an F9, F12. So for curve, get point, and so it's going to be 4 points. Get point position of I is going to be, say, this one. Where is this position? Offset is get closest offset point. You know, I still don't understand the offset stuff. I was in the middle of trying to figure out some of the stuff about this curve 2D when I found the bug. And then he just goes ahead and he labels it. The label is going to be the name of these. So I'll keep that. And then he adds the label as a child. So sticks it on the thingy here. I added these as I was debugging, trying to figure out what get bake points are, how to get the size, and all this other junk. This was an attempt at trying to figure out what the heck was going on. Pass isn't needed. And then we go down to the physics process. The only thing you need in physics process is this: follow progress plus equals speed times delta. That's it. The rest of this stuff is basically his code that you don't need in Godot for it with this. So what we do is we do F6 after all of this, and I want to get rid of all of this. F12 to continue, and we get this. My area is slightly off, but that's fine. Nah, it's fine. And now for collision, how do we want to deal with a collision on these? So we have an area 2D, and that is this car, and an area 2D, which is this car. We're only going to be concerned about this car entering this area. So in area 2D, we don't really need this in here, but I'm going to keep it. What we do is we go area 2Ds on signals have to be area entered. I'm just going to disconnect all of those because none of them are valid anymore. So we're going to do an area entered. Bye-bye. And we're going to connect this to, what do we want to connect it to? Path2D, because that's where our process is running. So yeah, we'll connect there. And area 2D entered. What we want to do is we want this variable, collide, false. So in our physics process, we want to say, if collide equals false, follow progress. If it's false, go ahead and do this. If it's not false, don't do that. And if our area gets entered, we want to change collide to true. Hope everything's spelled kind of correctly. It is. And then we do an F6. And the car comes down. It hits this area. Entered. That's either that. Yeah, that must be it being emitted from here with area entered, and it completely stops. So what you can do with this is that's going to trigger collide equals true, which will stop this physics process from continuing, and you can pretty much go from here with your code about what you want to do. There's so many different ways now that I can think about doing this. Like, for example, what I was trying to do before I ran into the issue. I can replace these, hopefully, with A star 2D grid nodes instead. Not nodes, using their follow path, because they give ID paths, map paths, and they give, I think, local paths, and I think I just have to convert those all to global for this to work. So instead of feeding points manually, that could potentially feed points into this, and this car will have its own custom track around the map. Will you please just delete that point? Oh, no? Okay, I give up. F6. With the basic code, you can do this. And that's all that this is about. And collision works. On forums, people have been saying, hey, collision doesn't work. No, that's why. So with Path2D, well, it does in Godot 4, so there. Everybody, I really hope this updated video, you'll never get access to the old video, works great for you. Everybody have a great day.